Today?
Let me check. Yep. Why?
Good. Because we are going ballroom dancing in a few minutes. Not we, because we're far away from each other, but it's a hot new trend with kids today.
And we'll get all gutsied up with country music's most stylish stars, but first today's showbuzz. Michael Jackson and his family are off the hook in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, at least for now. A judge declared a mistrial in the case brought by producers of the 1994 Jackson Family Honor Show, who alleged that Michael's failure to sing solo at the event turned it into a commercial disaster. The judge acted after jurors returned a confusing verdict in which they set the producers' losses at $2.6 million, but they held no one responsible for paying. There may be a new trial next February.
Legendary dancer Sid Charisse and her husband, singer Tony Martin, were the toast of Tinseltown Wednesday night. And another Sid named Caesar helped honor Charisse and her hubby, as did Uncle Milty and others at a Friars Club event in Beverly Hills. On a more somber note, Bob Hope attended the funeral for his longtime co-star Dorothy Lamour on Thursday. Red Buttons and other Hollywood celebs also attended the services in North Hollywood. Lamour, who made 7 road pictures with Hope and Bing Crosby, died Sunday at the age of 81.
Singer Luis Miguel is already a star in Latin America. Now he's a star on Hollywood Boulevard, too. Hundreds of fans were on hand as the Grammy-winning Hispanic heartthrob was honored with star number 2073 on the Walk of Fame on Thursday. The 26-year-old native of Mexico has sold over 45 million albums worldwide. Ethnic minorities are making inroads on prime time this season, but some other roadblocks are in their path. Returning shows like Living Single, Family Matters, and New York Undercover feature ethnic casts. So do new shows on WB and the UPN network. But the big 3 networks remain a whiter shade of pale. Gloria Hillard has that story from Hollywood.
It's a familiar sitcom setting, the classroom, and center stage is comedian Steve Harvey. His is one of nearly a dozen comedies with African-American dominated casts on the Warner Brothers and UPN networks.
I'm very happy of the number of minority shows that have popped up, but then at the same time I'm incredibly disappointed that there are no major minority shows outside of Cosby on the major networks.
Went over to the cleaners, pick up my trousers.
The big item for us this year, obviously, is the Bill Cosby Show, which has gotten off to a terrific start. It's very difficult to simply say we're going to do programming for minorities. I mean, the general accepted and maybe erroneous feeling is that if you have minorities on television, more minorities will watch that show.
That's what Suzanne Douglas of WB's The Parenthood believes.
African Americans spend close to $6 to $8 billion in this country a year. So it would behoove any producer to captivate that audience.
Oh, Dad! Woo!
James Avery, who stars in UPN Sparks, says color on TV should not necessarily be accompanied by a laugh track.
It seems like they want to limit you to some kind of comedic situation, or they want to limit you to buffoonery, when that's not who you are necessarily. Everybody has that side of them. You know, we're all funny, we're all dramatic, but nobody is just all one thing.
And if you're a member of any other ethnic minority, stereotyping on television is not the problem. Invisibility is.
Right now, there is a flood of African-American shows, but as it relates to Hispanics and Asians, there's no shows.
One exception, ABC's nod to the Hispanic audience with the new Common Law.
If she loves you, eventually she'll see past it.
We have a number of other shows where we've either added minority characters or where they play a prominent role with new shows. So I think, at least speaking for ABC, I can't speak for the others, I think we've made some progress.
In mirroring the society we live in, we are getting glimpses of our diversity in the ensemble casts of many popular shows. Tracy Bingham has just joined Baywatch.
And I think you need to see more of that, not just African American, all minorities, all ethnics. It just makes it more well-rounded and more realistic.
For ours is a TV culture, and is what we are seeing truly who we are. Gloria Hillard, CNN Entertainment News, Los Angeles.
Coming up, Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman in a medical thriller. Doctor's orders can be deadly. And Super Duper Mario, the petite painter, enters a whole new dimension.
to eat good food is to be close to God. I'm never sure what that means, but it's true anyway.
In love and life.
Men, boys.
One big night can change everything.
Hey, Formaggio!
It's a party, you know? It's fun.
Minnie Driver, Ian Holm, Isabella Rossellini, Tony Shalhoub, and Stanley Tucci in the movie critics call one of the very best films of 1996.
Can you believe it?
Big Night.
Here is to tonight.
Rated R. Now playing at select theaters.
More, Tom.
Tom, does this match?
Well, I relax, Tom.
We're options. Best ever.
Slacks, jackets, vests.
Everything matches. All the brown stuff goes together.
All the black stuff goes together? You mean I could look like you guys? Gee, Tom, we're highly paid fashion models.
But you could dress like us. Claw.
Know your options. Options by Stafford, only at JCPenney. During the fall wardrobe sale, save 25% on Options by Stafford.
Some people believe the world is getting smaller. At United Van Lines, we believe the world is still the same size. We've just helped to make it easier to get around. Let United show you how making a move to another country is a lot like making a move to another block. The same quality service that helped make us America's #1 mover has also made us one of the world's leading movers with over 1,000 agents worldwide. United Van Lines. Quality moves around the world.
Prudential has helped protect and support families for over 120 years. With the largest capital base of any life insurance company in America. We've always been there for families, paying over 85 million claims. Today, Prudential touches 1 out of every 5 people in America. People think we have quite a history, but all we've ever really done is help insure the future. The Rock, we've been there, we'll be there.
Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley seem to have replaced Charles and Diana as England's #1 power couple. But they've moved to America to escape the glare of tabloid publicity and to make the first feature film from their jointly owned production company. Mark Shearer spoke with them about Extreme Measures.
You're quite a creepy person, aren't you? You see, before I was thinking you were just obstructive or inept, but now I'm beginning to think maybe you're much more sinister than that.
I think you better leave.
Now, here's something you don't see every day. Hugh Grant in a thriller, instead of the more familiar Hugh Grant as the slightly befuddled Brit in romantic comedies.
I think that I can do that. I mean, I did a lot of straight roles before For Weddings and a Funeral, so it's just that no one ever saw them.
Extreme Measures is the first feature from the production company created by Grant and his girlfriend Elizabeth Hurley.
Hugh had no doubt he could handle a role like this, and I gather you didn't have any doubts either, right?
No, not at all. It is a change of direction for him in a way. People are going to see things in this part they haven't perhaps seen of him on screen before.
Someone in this hospital has deliberately set me up to stop me asking questions about a patient of mine whose body has disappeared into thin air.
What about post-mortem? Believe it or not, we seem to have lost the body. Well, that never helps.
Hurley and her boyfriend began shooting Extreme Measures in the wake of his much-publicized arrest for soliciting a prostitute. Some scenes in the film are unavoidable reminders, by the way. But just try to ask Grant about the perhaps intimidating external pressures, and he'll slip away gracefully.
Well, Gene Hackman is a very intimidating actor. He's one of the great actors that we have at the moment, and it was a very intimidating experience having him in the film, and but I think I learned a lot from it.
I don't believe that's what I was getting at.
Hurley says the couple had to reluctantly flee England to escape tabloid harassment.
Well, we actually have a better time in America as far as being harangued by sort of low-life sort of paparazzi than we do anywhere else in the world, as a matter of fact.
Come on, Doc, move it! How'd you know I was a doctor?
Grant is grateful the studio let him try something different.
No, I'm not.
It's not an action film. I don't wear an eye patch and a tank top.
Are you going to turn around next and say, I want to put an eye patch on and a tank top?
No one will let me. But, no, actually, I think I've got a romantic comedy I quite want to do.
Right.
I had 2 people tied up for 8 hours.
Well, you know, Gene, what you do in the privacy of your own home is really your business.
Mark Shearer, CNN Entertainment News, New York. George Lucas is hoping the Force will be with him as he prepares to don his director's cap for the first time in over 20 years. Lucas has announced he'll direct and produce the first of 3 planned Star Wars prequels. The first of them serves as the opening chapter of the Star Wars saga. It's set to go into production in the fall of 1997. The Star Wars game is among the first titles available on Nintendo's dazzling new 64-bit game player. That goes on sale in the U.S. this week. Dennis Michael reports you'd better grab one quick because they're sure to be the hottest gift this Christmas.
There's no more kicking those flat little mushrooms. Mario has gone 3D. These incredible images come from the new Nintendo 64 video game system created by Nintendo with an assist from Silicon Graphics, the computer manufacturer that has already changed the movies forever. 64-bit technology allows the player a whole new way of looking at games.
The power of the system actually allows you to walk 360 degrees around the character to view the entire world and to go instantaneously in any direction you want and not be sort of constrained to the side-to-side sort of scrolling action that game players have been used to.
900,000 of the new Nintendo 64 consoles have already sold in Japan since last June. When the new system arrives in the U.S. this week, it'll already have undergone a price cut. Originally, Nintendo was going to ask $250. Now the price is $199.95. Not only does Nintendo have Sega and Sony as competitors, but also personal computers. But the new 64-bit system has the computing power that means competing power.
This is not possible on even today's high-end personal computers. You know, the advantage of the video game consoles is they're designed specifically for this kind of entertainment, and the game developers can take full advantage. There's no keyboard or other sort of clunky way to get through the game. It's all based on a very consumer-friendly controller.
As far as Nintendo is concerned, it's not game over by a long shot. I'm Dennis Michael with the Tech Guide.
Still to come, we go on a shopping spree with country's stylish singers. And hot-steppin' swingers, get ready to rumba. Actress Linda Hamilton, heroine of the Terminator movies, turns 40 Thursday. Singer Olivia Newton-John, who got physical with John Travolta in Grease, is 48. And actress Mary Beth Hurt is also 48.
To replace an incandescent unit, interrupt circuit flow. Perform the required height adjustment and torque unit toward the opposable thumb to dislodge connective threading. Verify unit failure. Locate functioning reserve, insert into vacant receptacle, and employ a reverse rotation.
You know, anything can be made to seem complicated.
Reactivate circuit flow.
A computer doesn't have to be one of them. The Acer Aspire 2000 series with the Intel Pentium processor.
Say, if you like cheese, but not the fat and cholesterol of cheese, please try my delicious SmartBeat fat-free slices. This is our brand new flavor seal. It's kind of fun to open. SmartBeat has the only slices with 0 fat, 0 cholesterol, and 0 lactose. Serve them cold or grill them. Either way, they have a great cheddar taste. SmartBeat, the only slices with 0 fat, 0 cholesterol, 0 lactose. You can say cheese, but go for SmartBeat.
How's your job?
Great. There's still a lot of stress, though.
You still getting those headaches?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went to the doctor. I thought they might be migraines. He said they weren't. He told me to take Tylenol, extra strength.
Tylenol? Not some prescription, huh?
The Tylenol works great, Dad.
More than aspirin, more than ibuprofen. For headaches, doctors recommend Tylenol the most.
You should have come to work for me, Julie.
Oh, sure. No stress there.
Clues, Watson. Over here. Biggest gathering of movie sleuths ever. And here, in September. I've got it. Turner Classic Movies? Precisely, Watson. Uncover the greatest movies of all time. Call your cable company and ask for Turner Classic Movies.
Janis Joplin was a chart topper in her day, and although the singer died of a heroin overdose in 1970, 2 major movie studios are trying to bring her back to life in the 90s. TriStar has a deal in the works for a Joplin biopic that would star actress Lily Taylor. At the same time, Lakeshore Entertainment is all systems go for singer Melissa Etheridge to star in its film version of Joplin's life. Tupac Shakur is enjoying some post-mortem sales success. In the 2 weeks since his death, his album All Eyes on Me has jumped from number 69 to number 6 at America's retailers. Now let's look at some other chart toppers, Billboard magazine's top 10 singles.
Through the years, country singers have been proud of their rather loud outfits. For many of them, designer fashions might have meant something from their local department store, but times have changed. And these days, country stars are stepping out in style. Sherry Sylvester shows us how they've learned to dress for success.
Country style. Those words used to mean big hair, short boots, fringed skirts, and rhinestone shirts. But country style looks more than a little bit rock and roll these days.
I love fashion. Fashion on parade. Badgley, Michigan, all the way.
And we're not just a bunch of hillbillies, you know. We read Vogue and Women's Wear Daily.
I like to have a little class about me. A little bit of class, if I can.
Today's country women are leading the way in designer duds, from Richard Tyler to Badgley Mischka to Giorgio Armani. Take a quick tour through the many looks of Reba McEntire.
To me, it was comical. I mean, I can look back on some of the outfits I wore, but man, when it comes to taste in clothes, with me, I don't have any. I'm just really glad Sandy came into my life and fixed all that.
Sandy is Sandy Speak Up, a stylist who makes McEntire magazine ready.
Reba looks wonderful in very tailored, body-fitting clothes. She has a wonderful figure. She's my expert that comes in and says, I don't know, Reba, take that off and put this on. And I'm like, yes, I feel good.
Even a new artist such as Jody Messina goes shopping with a stylist. Messina chooses Melrose as the place to pick up her country clothes.
Once or twice a year, we actually get a chance to come out and shop. I mean, I want to be different, but I don't want to be offensive. I don't think country music is expanding that far. If you catch my drift, you can see through it.
As country music moves more into the mainstream, top clothing designers are courting country women.
The closing ceremonies at the Olympics, I wore an Armani suit, which was just gorgeous. And I did a whole year, 1 year on the road of just touring in black Armani tuxes.
And maybe it appeals to some of the youth that might not have turned over to country if they look on the video channel and see, wow, that's a hip-looking girl or lady, and I think it makes them maybe stop for a minute and listen.
But there is one thing that many country artists won't part with, that big hair.
I know you may have to send me to Betty Ford to get me over this habit. This is one thing I ain't kicking.
Sherry Sylvester, CNN, Los Angeles.
Here in these,
What's with kids today? They're having a ball with ballroom dancing. And tomorrow, Stanley Tucci's big night on screen. He's leaving Murder One to make killer pasta.
MGM Pictures and Reicher Entertainment present 2 Days in the Valley, a comedy thriller that fatefully intertwines 9 people's lives. Really? In 9 Ways to 2 Days in the Valley, life imitates art. Find the connections between cast members, and you and a guest could win a week in L.A., taking in Valley hotspots.
This is a nice place to live.
Look for displays at Tower Records Video or in the September 20th issue of Entertainment Weekly.
What are you going to do?
Watch CNN Showbiz today, weekdays at 5:30 for clues on how to win. And now, question number 4 in 9 Ways to 2 Days in the Valley. Which actor directed a film about an L.A. neighborhood with a famous zip code? Need a clue? Here's one for you. In this comedy, Bette Midler proves that charity truly begins in the home.
That was great.
Tell me about it.
It was different. It was so dark.
You found that exciting?
Incredible.
They finally did it in the dark. Milky Way dark. It's pure pleasure in the dark.
A bottle of soda pop contains about 85% water. And what water is in the bottles of some of the world's best-selling soft drinks?
Hey, Culligan man.
Culligan, the world's source for better water.
Critics are calling Extreme Measures a ferociously suspenseful thriller.
They're gonna kill us!
Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman make riveting adversaries.
You're not God.
You'd better think about that. Extreme Measures is the best thriller since The Fugitive. Hugh Grant, Gene Hackman. Extreme Measures, rated R. Starts Friday.
Good morning, guys.
Just when you think your diarrhea medicine is working.
Oh, boy. What's wrong?
It can let you down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in just one dose, instead of dose after dose, more than a third of a bottle of the pink stuff. And Imodium AD is even better than the leading prescription.
I told you we should have stopped for Imodium AD.
Imodium AD, one dose relief you can count on.
This Sunday on National Geographic Explorer, koalas, amazing acrobats, fighting, mating, and living it up in the outback. King Koala, National Geographic Explorer, this Sunday at 7 Eastern, only on PBS Destination Sunday.
To access CNN Interactive on the World Wide Web, call 1-800-WORLD-NET, extension CNN, for free internet software. After an unsuccessful 6-month run, the curtain is going down on the Broadway musical Big, based on a 1988 hit film starring Tom Hanks. Big never struck the right chord with theatergoers. According to the New York Times, the show has lost over $10 million. Big's producer blames the show's closing in part on Big's failure to pick up a Tony nomination for Best Musical last spring.
Okay, we all know the Macarena has its fans, but good old-fashioned ballroom dancing has its very own week. That's right, it is National Ballroom Dancing Week, and to celebrate, a number of footloose young adults have rolled out the red carpet for this traditional style of cutting a rug. Pet cats are swinging. And it's forward, side, pivot, and back. A waltz is no longer square, and around the country, Merengue is making friends with a whole new generation of dancers.
I always wanted to take those ballroom classes that people have said that they were forced to take when they were kids.
7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4.
Anything from foxtrot to waltz to tango, it's all considered ballroom dances.
In fact, at Arthur Murray, where they've been teaching dance for over 80 years,
it's a resurgence of ballroom.
A resurgence for sure. An estimated 15 million people will be involved in ballroom dancing this year, and 150,000 will take lessons at least twice a week. And they're getting younger.
10 years ago, the average age of people dancing was somewhere in their 60s, but now the average age is probably 30 to 35 of people taking lessons.
A little rhythm and music from Tony Bennett and contemporary swing bands like these Squirrel Nut Zippers might be behind the ballroom boom. One-time wallflowers are trotting into smaller studios like New York's Sandra Cameron Dance Center, looking to tango or rumba and resurrect a lost art.
People don't partner dance anymore.
Our generation does a lot of like single dancing in front of each other, and it was really, it's really fun to be able to know how to be led and lead, I guess.
For teachers, that's the challenge.
In the world of today, the women don't know about following. It's very women's lib orientated, and they come in and they want to lead the steps.
Old-fashioned values, but a brand new name.
It's being called dance sport. If you look at ballroom dancing, the name is kind of a little archaic.
Or if the dwell should read high at idle, then replace the module and repeat the test.
Make it a point to observe the dwell reading on good running vehicles of all makes. Then record the readings in your tune-up spec book for future reference when you suspect a problem. Intermittent ignition problems are always a source of aggravation because they seldom show up when the car comes in for service. Have the customer explain the exact nature of the problem and when it occurs. If necessary, road test the vehicle with the customer, then drive the vehicle to experience the problem firsthand. You may have to simulate the road test conditions to make the problem occur in the shop.
Many intermittent problems are related to vibration and are usually the result of loose or corroded connections. With the engine running, manipulate and tap the various primary connections. If a hesitation occurs, turn the ignition key off. Remove, clean, and reconnect the offending terminal. Restart the engine and check to make sure that the problem has been corrected. Electronic circuits occasionally become intermittent when they reach operating temperature. To simulate this condition, place a trouble light close to the module or the distributor for 5 to 10 minutes with the hood closed. The component should be allowed to heat up until it's just a little too hot to touch, but don't overdo it. Again, with the engine running, tap and manipulate components and connections lightly. If a fault occurs, the engine will miss or stall. Replace the faulty unit.
A customer complaint of cutting out, surging, bucking, or backfiring may be due to broken pickup wires.
Any engine with a distributor whose pickup coil or mounting plate rotates to provide vacuum advance is subject to this condition when the wires finally fracture due to continuous flexing. To check for this problem, connect a hand-operated vacuum pump to the vacuum advance unit on the distributor, and with the engine running, add vacuum slowly. Then, manipulate the wires at the grommet. If the engine stalls or misses, you've found your problem. As part of your regular tune-up procedure, always check the resistance of the pickup coil and flex the leads, as illustrated on this 1977 Ford Monarch. On Ford products, the third or black wire in the pickup assembly is actually the module ground, so be sure to check its condition. On GM products, you may occasionally find a completely broken white pickup lead and still find the engine runs, although poorly. This can occur because positive polarity on the green lead provides sufficient but inconsistent signal to cause module triggering. So always make a visual check of pickup wires, as well as using a vacuum pump and an ohmmeter as described earlier.
The quick tests just covered have been found to be applicable to most domestic and imported vehicles. However, they don't apply to all vehicles, so when in doubt, check your service manual. As a professional, you know that there are some basic rules to be observed when working on electronic ignition systems. When checking compression, be sure to open the primary circuit or ground the coil high-tension lead to prevent possible damage to ignition or electronic components. Always turn the ignition key off before making or breaking any electrical connections. Never jump primary connections to ground unless through a tester or test light. This concludes the second of 8 programs in the AutoKnow Quick Test series. Depending on your area of specialty in the automotive trade, you'll find other programs in this series of great benefit in saving valuable diagnostic time.